Good morning, students. Today we will be studying your third chapter of history, and the name of the chapter is Bhakti Cult and Sufi Heritage. Before getting started with the lesson, let us see what are the topics you will be learning in today's video. You will get to know the gist of Bhakti Cult, Bhakti Heritage in South and North India. Let us get started with the introduction first. In South and North India, Alvars and Dasas, and in the North India, Sants and Sufis created social awakening through Bhakti cult. In this lesson, the objectives, meaning and features of Bhakti cult are discussed. In southern India, Andal, Akkamadevi, Kanakadasa, Purandaradasa and Shishunala Sharif are introduced. Similarly, in North India, Kabir Das, Guru Nanak, Tulasidas, Mirabai, Sri Chaitanya and Sufi saints are introduced. Children, as you know, in Indian society, we have many kinds of cultures, and if you go back in the past, you will see people were very orthodox of those times. They were very superstitious. They believed in caste system of these things were happened. So, it was believed that attaining moksha or salvation for the common man was impossible. So, what they did is, the medieval society was under the impression that common people were not eligible for such a destiny. And during this period, saints of Bhakti cult and Sufi tradition brought in a social and religious reformation and stressed the importance of global brotherhood and thought that Bhakti is the best way to attain moksha. This path is called as what? This path is called as Bhakti. The word Bhakti is from the Sanskrit word which means Bhuj. Bhuj means knowledge. Let us understand the gist of Bhakti cult. First one, Bhakti cult condemned discrimination, preached equality. Second, the saints of Bhakti cult opposed and condemned superstitious practices. And third, they undertook the task of uniting hearts of the people. And so according to Sufi saint, Dharma is love and service to mankind. God is one, not many. Like we preach many gods, but each religion has their own God, and they preached. Let us study more about Bhakti heritage in South India. First one is Andal. Andal is one among the 12th Alvars, and they were Vishnu devotees of Tamil Nadu. She was an adopted daughter of Vishnu Chitta. Who was an adopted daughter of Vishnu Chitta? Andal was the adopted daughter of Vishnu Chitta. Vishnu Chitta was an Alvar who was also called as Peri Alvar. So, he was also an Alvar and he was called as Peri Alvar in Tamil Nadu. And her original name was Goda Devi. So, Andal's original name was Goda Devi. They were devotees of Krishna. So, all the Alvars as well as Andal was also the worshipper of Krishna. Her father was making garlands and offering it to Krishna temple of Srivilliputturu. And Andal loved Krishna and she claimed that he was her husband. And she wrote Tirupavai and dedicated to God. In Tamil Nadu, Tirupavai means it is a vrata or a ceremony or a religious observance which is very famous. And according to Alvars, all Vishnu devotees are equal and their birth should not be questioned. Nobody can question their birth. And caste discrimination is a criminal offense. Next we'll move on to Akkama Devi. Akkama Devi was an enterprising woman in Vachana movement of 12th century. She made immense contributions to Vachana literature and she was born in Udutai of Shivamogga district. Her father was Nirmala Shetty and mother Sumati. In her childhood, she was immersed in Shiva Bhakti. She was very much immersed in Shiva Bhakti and she claimed that Channa Mallikarjuna himself to be her husband. But what happened? Her parents forcibly got her married to King Kaushika. But she was not satisfied. She found it found it a hindrance to her service to Guru, Linga and Jangama. So she left the palace and later she stayed at Anubhava Mandap in Kalyana for some times, and there she wrote many vachanas under the pen name of Channamallikarjuna. Next we'll move on to Purandaradasa. He is one of the important person in Kannada Dasa literature. So Purandaradasa was born in Purandara Gada and his original name was Srinivasa Nayaka. His father was Varadappa Nayaka and mother Leelavati. Wife Lakshmi Bai was a religious woman. And what he did, he distributed all his wealth to the needy people and spent rest of his life in the thought of God. And he travelled to many places singing kirtanas, and last he reached Krishnadevaraya's court. He condemned caste system also, and we also see the combination of philosophy, moral and musical qualities of his songs. And he was known as Karnataka Sangita Pitamaha. Who is known as Karnataka Sangita Pitamaha? Purandaradasa was known as Karnataka Sangita Pitamaha, and he was called as a father of Carnatic music. He wrote kirtanas with the pen name of Purandara Vittala. What was the pen name of Purandaradasa? His pen name was Purandara Vittala. He praised by his own guru, which means teacher, Vyasaraya, as Purandara Dasa, is ultimate as a Dasa. Next, Kanaka Dasa. Kanaka Dasa is one of the famous Kirtanakaras of Dasa literature. So, he is also one of the famous literature of Dasa literature. He was born about 1508 CE at Bada village at Bankapur Taluk in Haveri district. And his original name was Timmappa. Who was her parents? Birappa and Bachama were his parents. He was a warrior as well as a poet. And he headed a group of over 78 villages. It is said that he found a pot full of gold and he came to be known as Kanakana Nayaka. He renounced worldly things and became a disciple of Vyasaraya. He composed many kirtanas with a pen name Adikeshava. Adikeshava was his personal god. He has criticized the superstitions of the society in his songs and preached the simple path of attaining moksha. He also criticized caste system in his songs. And the last one is Shishunala Sharif. Shishunala Sharif is the first Kannada Muslim poet. He is known as Kabira of Karnataka. Who was known as Kabira of Karnataka? Shishunala Sharif. He was born in 1890 CE at Shishunala. His parents were Imam Sahib, mother Hajjamma, and studied both the Hindu and Islamic religion in his childhood. And he later passed his Malki exams and served as a teacher for some times. He took Diksha from Govinda Bhatta and wrote many Tattva Padas. And he also tried to spread humanity beyond the barriers of caste and religion. So, these are the poets of Bhakti heritage in South India. Thank you.